The Great Commission enjoins us as Christians to preach and share Jesus Christ with the rest of the world. Today, the gospel of Jesus Christ is shared in diverse innovative forms according to each other's capabilities and ideas. In effect to this, on the 13th of October 2016, a Christian non-denominational charitable organization, Smile on Faces Foundation, was officially launched in conjunction with a campaign against neonatal jaundice. This took place at the British Council of Ghana.
It's a mandate to touch lives and to share Christ. The Smile on Faces Foundation and the campaign on neonatal jaundice. Make some real good noise.
The event brought together very important personalities. Notable among them were Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete, who was the chairperson for the event, as well as Mr. George Kumitremi, the Director of Nursing Ministry of Health, who was also the guest of honor.
I've heard the word neonatal jaundice, but I've never sat to find out what it really was. So I called my wife from upstairs and I said, Barbara, calm down. Do you know anything about neonatal jaundice? And she said, yes. And she started explaining what it was. And I told her, Barbara, I'm sorry, I must confess. Yes, jaundice, but this whole thing, I don't know about it. And that is how I'll begin my chairmanship here today. That we should broaden our knowledge on medics so that we'll live a good health and have a good health and live a healthy life.
I would say that you have registered your presence at the right time when my ministry is leaving no stone unturned in trying to fight the burden of infant and neonatal mortality through teamwork and strategic partnerships. The Ministry of Health hereby welcomes you on board for further collaboration to intensify our crusade against neonatal jaundice and with sustained evangelical zeal. Therefore, neonatal jaundice must be a condition that we must give adequate attention to in our healthcare delivery system. We are happy that Smile on Faces Foundation is throwing more light and awareness on the need to assist mothers and their babies with neonatal jaundice.
We've also been very worried about the number of newborns we see with neonatal jaundice or newborn jaundice, some of which may end up dying or may have a permanent brain damage. And we are really excited to partner with Smile on Our Faces Foundation to campaign against neonatal jaundice. Because when we empower people with knowledge, it gives them the ability to seek care early and insist on the right treatment for jaundice.
The campaign launch against neonatal jaundice brought together some veteran healthcare practitioners who shared an eye-opening information on the disease neonatal jaundice and ways to handle it curatively.
So one may ask, what is neonatal jaundice? As we can see, it's a condition where we have the yellowish discoloration of the skin and sclera of a newborn. Every newborn is supposed to have clear white sclera, so the sclera is the white part of the eye. It's supposed to be clear, it's supposed to be white. Unfortunately, when we have neonatal jaundice, this white sclera turns into yellow. Now, when the condition progresses, it moves from the eyes to the face, to the abdomen, eventually to the feet, and unfortunately, in very severe conditions, moves to the brain to cause brain damage. Now, the treatment I've already said is a very simple process, which is called phototherapy. So phototherapy basically means putting this baby who has neonatal jaundice under a blue light. The blue light works on the pigment that is causing the jaundice, breaks it down into a pigment that can be excreted from the urine and the feces.
Smile on Faces Foundation is an organization that seeks to propagate the gospel of Jesus Christ through social interventions such as capacity building, skills development, healthcare, education and feeding programs.
My desire to put smiles on the faces of the needy and the vulnerable in the society gave birth to this foundation. In 2011, December, Rebecca, that's a board member, and I started this foundation by visiting headquarters with used clothing and cash and giving away hampers to needy families at Christmas. Before then, I used to visit headquarters and give them used clothing and cash. Anytime I did this, the fulfillment I had from the smiles on their faces urged me to do more each time and each year.
Moreover, as part of its social responsibilities, Smile on Faces Foundation has taken it upon itself to support the sensitization of the public about neonatal jaundice and its remedy to eradicate neonatal diseases and neonatal mortality in the country.
Our biggest campaign is the campaign against neonatal jaundice. Just as Dr. Lawrence Tete said, I was equally ignorant until I met Vivian and the team. So it's a learning process for all of us. And the statistics are alarming, and you see the need to support. I think this subject is something that is not talked about much. It's because we do not know. And sometimes we do not know the devastating effects and impact it has on children. Today, the doctor has actually enlightened us on how devastating this condition can be. So for us, Smile on Faces Foundation, we intend to support this cause. We want to save children, and we want to put a smile on the faces of families and of young ones as well.
Quaking Gospel once again came up close with Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete to take his final remarks.
Neonatal jaundice are subjects that are being handled, but I think we are enlightening ourselves. We need to be informed. As I said today, when I chaired the program, I said that there are a lot of things we are all getting to know now, and we need to create awareness. We need to educate our people. Children are being born every day, and as a matter of fact, women are getting pregnant every day. So this will be an ongoing program. The basic thing is that when most children are born in Africa, because of tradition and certain cultures, we keep them in a room instead of exposing them to get a ray of light and proper sun. So these are some of the things that should be prevented. But how do they get prevented? We must inform parents, mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers must be informed so that the children will not be victim to these things that can be prevented.
The founder of Smile on Faces Foundation, Ms. Vivian Achere Ankra, also spoke to Quaking Gospel about the genesis of this campaign against neonatal jaundice and gave an advice to mothers.
Okay, two things. One, neonatal jaundice, because it is a condition that is people don't pay attention to, and I believe a lot of people don't even have an idea on it until you experience it. I experienced it personally with my first child before I even got to know about it. So I said, oh, if this is there and it can do this kind of harm, why don't we let the general public know about it? So it is two things. It's because less attention is being paid to it, and because of my personal experience and the effect I know it had on other people. That's why we are giving attention to neonatal jaundice. Yes. Our focus basically is vulnerable in society, but then we focus more on women and children. So anything that will help a mother, anything that would help a child, it's our focus. What I would say is that it's a treatable condition. You just have to know what to do. Now, when you give birth, you're not supposed to keep the baby in the room in the dark. You have to be aware that jaundice can attack the baby. It doesn't mean it's not anything that is very common. And if you find it, if you are able to identify it early and you treat it, the child is a normal child. Unless you don't identify it early, then it gets into the blood at a very high level. It gets into the brain. That is when you have all these effects. But if you monitor and you see that the child's eye or the skin is becoming yellow, also don't put the child in the sun yourself. Take the child to the nearest hospital and let the doctors themselves